So welcome. Uh, and so,
Hey Joel.
who what?
Hey Joel. I'm
Hey
just
Amy, how are you?
I'm welcoming everybody. I'm well, thank you. I hope you are also.
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you.
She's at the beach. Man.
Oh, so you're fine, right?
We're doing okay. Definitely lucky to be here.
Good. That's fantastic.
So
You
much
know,
fun.
I'm really moved by how little I know of what other people are going through. I'm not wishing I was going through some of that stuff, but I do realize that I'm also disconnected from a lot of that stuff, right?
That's called blessed.
Well, be careful of the blessings you ask God for, because He tends to mess. God has a history of blessing people in ways that are not awesome. I don't want blessings. I just want to keep moving, man. I just want to keep moving. So look, I think where we left off is in phase 4. And look, I was looking at the schedule and the timing, and I was just talking to Brian. So look, let me give you I'll give you a quick update. Try not to touch my face. So number one, we're getting into the good guts of the program right now. And one of the things that's good and hard about this is that we're doing it 2 hours, and then we wait 3 or 4 days, and 2 hours, and wait 3 or 4 days. So we're going back and forth, and momentum is going to be challenging. So I'm going to get with Amy, and we're going to figure out on our schedule a couple of ways to do a couple of immersion days where we really crank through and deliver the program. Now, I've got some YouTube videos that I have from way back when. Let me just see if I've got I've got a playlist where Swisher, SuperHero. No, that's a test prep video, which might actually help. It might actually help understand like a lot of what we've covered so far if you're in that place. But also, I might have deleted them too. Like I might have deleted the videos I did a demo when I went to work for Salesforce to teach this class. I had to do a video demo initially in order to get that. Here we go. There's module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4, module 5. Okay, so I do have some unlisted videos that I will, if you want to go through them. What it is, it's me going through the PowerPoint that we used a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, as a matter of fact. And so what I'll do is I'll make those available to you. And if you want to do a quick immersion with that and see if that's helpful, that's awesome. I'll plug those in. Let me see if I can add that to a playlist real quick while we're at it. Path to kind of let's see, the lightning experience. So this is a couple of years ago, so be forgiving. I was and it's all PowerPoint, no exercises, and it is all just no interaction, just watching the video, and it's about 4 or 5 hours of video watching, but it might actually give you a compression if you got time and you want to look at it. Let me see why I can't. I'm still not that great with YouTube, clearly. We go to the studio and see if that's different than this. Okay, so there's okay, so this is a little different. It's the new Studio Creator. And if I go, title, let's do that, apply. Nope. What did I say before? What were they before? For some reason, my Zoom videos are not uploading like the service I'm paying for. It sucks. Here we go. Oh, practice mod. Okay, so here's my module 1, 2, 3, 5, 4. And I guess, what are my options? I'm going to add those to a playlist. There we go. I'm going to call it admin test prep. I'm going to put it all in that one. And now I'll give you guys this link right now. But let's see. There we go. So one is going to be a test review, and the other one is going to be just content, right? Just straight immersive content for you. If you want to jam on that, jam on. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 hours of content. If you, Brian, you were talking about doing a cram session. This is a great cram session. I think it's the first 5 modules. Hey, I might feel whiskey and risky and do 6 through 10, or 6 through 9 really is what it is. But we're kind of, so you can have all of it at once. So, all right. Is that helpful for you guys? Is that?
It's not showing up actually.
Did I not? Maybe I put it, the chat's not showing up?
Well, it says the playlist does not exist. I just clicked on it.
All right, let's see. Oh, you know what?
That's what mine says too.
I made it. So look, just keep it. You should, hold on, let me make sure that's saved. How about now, Gil?
Yep, works now.
Okay. And then I'll do module 4. So module 1 through 3, 4, and 5 should go in pretty good order. I'll do the other modules later on maybe, and that'll create a little streamlined good for you guys. But it's got the wrong PowerPoint in it to make it public. But because all of you work for me, this is for internal training purposes only. So keep that in mind, okay? Don't tell on me in that regard. All right, so that works. You guys got it. Woohoo! I'm going to close this for now. And then I think we talked about customizing, and we left off last week. We left off at customizing the sales path for your team, right? Did you guys complete that project? Customize the sales path for your team, or was it either we did it together? So just check your list. I'll go with the majority of people. I know not everybody got a chance to complete it. I was keeping Amy busy doing other stuff, so I don't expect that. But if you did complete it, just kind of let me know. I think we're going to go into the project process builder now. Is that right? Or do we need to do sales path? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I think we did the sales path together.
Okay, just check do you have a green check box?
Mm-hmm.
All right, then let's go to the process build. That's probably the next one. So process build is where we get into automation. And for Brian, based on the conversation I had today with Waldo, this is the kind of stuff that'll just make your life easier when, you want to trigger actions that are automatic. Now, when I do consulting, I never do process builder off the bat. I say never. I never recommend doing process builder off the bat. The reason is that if automation is not, if your processes, when you automate your processes, you should be really good at your processes manually first. And then, I mean, on paper, before you even, add them to Salesforce, you should have this, you should have it down on paper, like it all works. You know what you're doing and why. And then you can map it to Salesforce to see if you can add efficiencies to that process by the way you collect and move data from one stage to another. Now, once you get past that, then you can create automation to do things automatically, so that because it matches what you've confirmed manually. If you try to go from, process on a whiteboard to automation it requires more diligence to go right to automation, because you got to do more testing, you got to do more QA. And really, I like to take the approach of KISS, keep it standard Salesforce, try to do it manually in Salesforce. And once you got all that done, then you can come back with an improvement for your users to say, oh, you remember how you used to have to click, 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 click? Now you just click. And then they're like, that's awesome, right? So that's better. And you make sure all your processes and pieces and parts are in place, so that when you're ready to automate, you got a lot of the work done. But we're going to go through it. We're going to do it. Oh, look, I got 25 points on the challenge. Let's see what I got to do to retake that step. Oh. All right, so I'm going to launch my playground. So I'm starting with the first one. All right, let's see what they want us to do. So we're gonna start by just creating a new process, is what it looks like, right? And then what it looks like is I didn't get to prep anything at all for this. So Gil, maybe you can edit that statement out. Don't edit it. Okay, so we're gonna go in. We're gonna go to Process Builder. I think we did this one. I think I demonstrated this to you guys. The contact address change. I think I verified that. Or I might have screwed it up in the verification because I moved too fast. I think I was doing it at the end. But let's do it together. Let's just verify the address change, and let's see if it works. Let's see if I do this like I did before. And I do that. And what I'm trying to do is manage my screen space. Okay, so somewhere I messed up. No problem. I'll just do it. So let me go to let's do it together. So again, near impossible to watch me and do this at the same time. So remember, if you want to watch me, watch me. If you want to follow the steps, I prefer you muddle through with the steps, because they're going to walk you right through. So I'm going to type in builder. Now I could type in process, but you'll see a lot of other process stuff. Doesn't matter. Type in process. There's a couple of things I just want to point out to you. There are 3 processes built into 3 objects in Lightning: leads, opportunities, and cases. Those are the pick list values that we edited when we were creating a sales process. You guys remember that? And we also talked about approval processes. So for example, and again, I'm going to use Brian as an example. If you're negotiating a speaking engagement, and the opportunity amount is typically let's just say it's $10,000 for a speaking engagement. I know I'm not using the actual numbers to protect the identity of those who are insane. $10,000, but you offering them a 25% discount for whatever reason, whatever local, you might put a discount reason in there. Well, you could have a validation rule or a process builder rule that says any discount greater than X would trigger an approval process, which would then send that record into a locked state until the person who's designed to approve it can approve that discount or reject it. And we have those approval behaviors, those initial submission behaviors, those approval behaviors, rejection behaviors, and final approval or final rejection. So that's the flow of an approval process. And the reason I'm going through that little bit of a reminder. In process automation, the settings, which we're not going to get into much, that's where Process Builder lives. We also have workflows, and it looks like there's knowledge action, and then workflow rules, which are the actual workflows that we'll talk about later on. But we're just going to go right to Process Builder because really, Salesforce is moving away from workflow rules. And the reason is they're not the new cool thing, right? So they're not the real cool thing. So there we go. So now it's, let's see. So I know why it failed me is because I named it something different. So contact address change is the process that I'm building. So I'm going to go back to my processes. I'm going to start over from scratch, by the way. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to delete and deactivate this process. I'm just cleaning up mine. If you're following along and doing it, that's awesome. Can I delete it? No. Okay. So I'm just gonna create a new process, and I'm going to call the name contact address change because that's what it's looking to see, even though it's the same process. And then it's going to start when a record changes. So the only time a record can change is if it changes from not a record to a record. It's when it passes all the validation, a new record, when the record's saved. So nothing happens. You know, a lot of times in sales, we say nothing happens until something is sold. Yep, nothing happens until something is saved. So now we've got the process. We're gonna click add the object, and we're gonna choose the account object. And then we decide, is it only when the record is created or when it's created or edited? And obviously, if the goal of this process is to update all the contacts when the account address changes, it's of course when it's either created or edited. Now, in the workflow world, in the automation world, records always, one of the rules of workflow is, when do you check the record? When do you what is the evaluation criteria? So you either, in workflow rules, you got to remember these, and I'll go over them during the test. There's 3 instances that a record will be evaluated for automation. First is when it's created. Second is when it's created and every time it's edited. Or the third time is when it's created and edited to subsequently meet the criteria, which means it finally meets the criteria. So think about an opportunity, right? It's created, it's new, you're constantly editing the update, you're updating it, moving the stages, adding data, adding products, always a changing or attaching that record. But there's only going to be one time that you go from not closed won to closed won, or not closed lost to closed lost, right? That initial first time. So just remember, every time a record is created and saved, it's evaluated for it's evaluated for automation. Does it meet the criteria? Is the data that I collected on this object true to the criteria that'll trigger the automated action? Does that make sense? So true always triggers an action. A record can't save until it's valid. So validation in the order of things getting executed, validation is always the first thing because nothing happens until a record is saved. And then it's evaluated. So the next thing that happens, once a record is valid, then it gets evaluated for automation. If it triggers the rules, then it triggers workflow rules, then it triggers processes, and then I can't remember the rest of it, but it ends in escalation, which is only for cases, but it's a great way to remember the answer to the test is validation first, then execution last, is really all you got to remember for the test. And I don't have my slide in front of me. It's been a while since I taught it, but we'll get through there. So in this one, it's when a record is created or edited, and then we'll hit save. That added the criteria, and then we're going to verify that to earn 25 damn points. You'll probably earn 100. So that's the first step. Evaluating the object. Great. I got a badge. Woo-hoo. Thank you. So now I need to add the criteria. Why was that a whole badge? Okay. So now I'm going to add the criteria. So the criteria are these nodes. These nodes, you can add multiple nodes. I think there's a limit, but I've never gotten to it, and I don't know anybody who has. But you'll know when you get to any limit in Salesforce because they will ask for money or something else, right? Salesforce is never ashamed of money, of asking for money. So we're going to add a criteria, and we're going to call that criteria address change. And the reason I'm copying and pasting it is because the trailhead is fickle. And then I want to see when the conditions are met. So now the conditions are like a list view filter or any other kind of filter, right? It's the data and the criteria in a and or methodology. Or you could create a formula to evaluate to be true. Now, before we had the last one, no criteria, just execute. If you had a formula or a criteria, but there was no criteria, you had to put something. You could put a formula where 1 equals 1. That's always true, right? 1 equals 1 is always true. 2 equals 2 is always true. So you don't have to do that work through. It wasn't a workaround, it was a work through. So now we're going to set a condition that if the billing street, and there's 2 streets to choose from in an account record, and the operator is either a comparator, it's saying it's either null, it's equals, doesn't equal, starts with, ends with, contains, or is changed. So we're really looking for, is it changed? True. So did the billing street change? Yep. Great. Now, and you can leave it, this is where you do your logic. So remember filter logic, 1 and 2 and 3 or 4. So if I add another criteria, is it at 1 and 2? Now, it's not pointing to this, but look at the advanced here. And the advanced is, in this example, we wanted anytime anytime the record changes, so created or updated, we're going to check the account object. The first criteria node is, did the billing address change, yes or no? Yes, then go ahead and execute the action. Now, if it's the one in the example I just used before about the opportunity, you would want to say, advanced, do you want to execute the actions only when the specified changes are made to the current record? Another way to say that is the first time the billing address changes or the first time the opportunity changes. In this one, we're going to say no, and we're just going to click save. And then we'll verify the step. So all we did was we verified a step of adding the node, adding the object and the criteria. Then we added a criteria node. And in that criteria node, we added the criteria. So when that criteria is true, we got to take an action. What's that action going to be? Let me see where this takes me. Trailhead's got some goof to it. All right. Now we're going to add actions. Now, in the action, here's what's between workflow rules and process builder. One of the things that people really like about process builder is that the order in which you add the actions is the order in which they occur. So remember, you've got a bunch of actions you can take with process builder that you're limited in what you can do with workflow rules. Because workflow rules, you can only send an email, create a task, update a record, or send an HTTP post out to another computer. But I'm going to create an action and call it update the contact address, update the contact addresses. So I'm going to click action. The one I want to do is I want to update a record. The name I'm going to give it is update contact addresses. And then the record I want to update is a contact. Now, it's asking me what contacts. So I want to select the account record that started the process. So I'm sorry, wait, select a record. Oh, I don't want to update the account. I want to update the contact because that's related, one of the children. Contacts. So when the account address change, I want to update the account contacts, that account's contacts. I don't need a criteria unless, right? Let's say a particular, the way it works in your organization is the people that work at the account, let's say I used to work for RJ Reynolds Tobacco, right? So if RJ Reynolds moved their building from where they're at on 4th Street and they move over to 5th Street in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 2,000 people who work in the building would need their address changed, but it's really about 1,100 now. So those 1,100 that work in that building might need their address changed, but all the people in the field don't need their address changed because they're where they're at in the field all across the country. So in this example, it's a very rudimentary, very simple, if this, then that. But no, in the real world, that's where this criteria really matters. So you want to look at your contacts and say, only the contacts whose billing address matched, the billing street was already matching, then you could change it because they belong there, or some other type of formula or something like that. Formula, okay, what I need to do. Okay, so we don't need a criteria because in our crazy example, it's just the people that work at Sales and Technology Consultants, only 2 of us right now, we are at the same address, but later on, when we start adding you guys as consultants, anyway. Now we're going to set the fields we want to do. So we want to find the mailing street. And it should reference the field billing street, right? Because that's what changed. Now, really, I would also, this is only showing when the billing street changes, change the mailing street on the contact. That's the corresponding thing. Now, when I'm done, I'm going to activate this process. And now I should be able to confirm that it works. So you could add more actions, but notice once it's activated, I can't do anything to it. I can't make any changes. I can't, right? Because it's an active process. And you can't mess with an active process. You got to stop the process, clone it, leave that one alone, make any changes, activate the new one, and then, and only then, can you delete the old one. All right, I did that. That's awesome. So now I'm going to go to my next one, which is test the process. See how that works. So what does it want me to do? Okay. So now I'm going to go in. I'm going to select Tim Barr as my contact. Is that right? He's not going to be there. There's Tim. So on his detail page, I could see he's at 2335 North Michigan Avenue, near the Miracle Mile, for those of you who've been shopping on that street. And then, so we're going to change that though. We're going to go to his account. And we'll change their billing address to and this is I'm going to change the zip code, see what changes, because that billing street has got a whole address in there. So we'll see what happens. Now, the only way I'm going to find that is go to my related contacts, go to Tim Barr or John Bond. Did I not activate my process? Did I not save my change? Yeah. Let's try John Bond for a second, because I think it just didn't refresh the page. There it is. He went to Bleecker Street. So what I think happened, because the thinking's free, you can think whatever you want. Because it saved it in my cache, I got to reload the page. So it's just, I kind of used a really crappy browser feature called not updating Salesforce. Nope, that one did it. So one did it, the other didn't. That's wicked weird. So let me go to I'm going to go down here and see. Just change that. That should execute. Yeah, he changed. I do not know what's wrong with this guy changing. No, it hasn't. So did y'all have it work or not work? Mine worked for one guy, but not the other. It's so weird.
Yeah, mine didn't work. Because it said that my address process wasn't right.
All right, let's go back. Here's the fun part. Let's go back and check it. Right? Because really, working it out is the greatest thing ever. So contact address change. So if I go into that, let's just check it out. So the first thing you want to check is your node. When a record is created or edited, that's awesome. What's my first one? Address change. What am I, if account billing street is changed, true, then take the action. Awesome. What's that action? No criteria. The mailing street should be updated to match the billing street. That all looks good. If you want to make a change to it, you have to deactivate it and then clone it. I typically clone it with a new version if depends on what I'm working on, how I'm working on it. Then I can go in and make updates and changes. So account billing is changed. Not the first time, but every time. And when that's true, it triggers the action. It updates the mailing street to the account billing street. So the record I'm updating is the account contacts. Yes. Let me activate. Yeah, I want to verify, see if it's working or not. (1701) State Street. Yeah, I'm clear, dude. I know I got it right. Now, it's a very simple process builder, and not just the one you're going to always get. Yeah, I don't know why this address is not updating. This doesn't make any sense. One's doing it, the other's not. No clue. But I passed the test. You guys get the message. You good?
No, I have this weird problem that I have to choose a macaroon flavor, and I did it, but it still has an error. I need to remove the macaroon flavor.
What in your process builder you do? Or oh
Yeah,
wait.
it says required field.
Oh, so wait a minute. Okay, good. This is good. Let's diagnose because this is let's let everybody look. So will you share your screen and take us through what's happening, Gil?
Okay.
Is that you in Asia, Julia? Your picture?
Yeah, that was me in Kyoto like 2 years ago.
You're not feeling sick or anything, right? Because of that.
Not at that time. Not now.
I was just thinking, how does COVID 1 through 18 feel? They're not getting any notoriety or attention, right? They built the virus that created COVID-19, yet they're getting no credit. Nobody cares about them. It's just 19. Gil, you know how to share your screen?
I'm working on it. I have to give permission, I guess.
Yeah, you go to the little control panel and then you click share.
Did we create the addresses new, the account addresses new in a different trail mix? Like in a different section?
The account address is new?
Because for some reason my account address is new is like not working. So that's why I can't save the new mailing address of this like child account.
We'll go to you next. All right. Let's take a look at Gil's first, and then we'll come to yours. Fair enough?
Yeah, perfect.
All right. Okay. So let's go to your account record first. Just open the other tab, Grand Hotels. No, just go right, move your mouse pointer to the very top of your screen and open up your account record. Click the other tab on your browser. The one that says Grand Hotels.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Yeah. So click edit on that first. And now hit save. Okay, I'm just waiting there. So required field missing. So this is one of the challenges with doing training at Salesforce all the time, right? If you do one thing or something else. So now let's go to your process builder. Click on the home tab. No, the home tab, the other tab that says home Salesforce. Let's go to the process builder. So type in process builder. Click on that. Let's just check out your process. And Julia, just follow along. So contact address change, right? That's active. Click on that. Click on the account object.
Right here?
Yep. Okay, close. You can hit cancel. Click on the address change, criteria node. When the conditions are met, awesome. And click on advanced at the very bottom of the conditions. Okay, that's fine. So account billing is changed is true. Hit cancel, and then let's see what the add is. Update. Contact address, yep. Mailing street is changed on account contacts. Mailing street is changed to billing street. Okay, that's all good. So click verify step again. Because there's two places you can require a field. Do you remember where those two places are?
Not sure.
Well, that one's one. So let's go. Yep, okay. So click on your object manager next to the home setup tab. Yep. And click on account. Now there's two places. Let's go to fields and relationships. And let's go down to Macron flavor, because that's a custom field you created. And now let's scroll down. Let's see if it's required. Yeah, you know, hey, scroll up a little bit. Okay, scroll up all the way. Click edit. Scroll down. See how you saved it as required?
Yeah.
That's going to fail the process because it's evaluating more than just that one record you saved.
Yeah.
So now click save. The other place you can make a field required is at the page layout level instead of the system. What's the difference? Well, if you do it at the page, you don't need to do it now. Now click verify your step on the left. I bet you it'll work now. So when a field is required, it can be required in two places: at the system level of the field itself or on the page that the field sits. The benefit of the page is that you can assign the page to the profiles that you want them to be required, and then the others you don't have to. But that's all you did. You just made a field required.
Yeah.
Requiring fields at the system level, remember, it makes that field editable by all profiles. It puts it on all page layouts, and everybody then has the ability to edit that field, no matter what, because you can't have a user adding a record without giving them the ability to validate or to add all of the system requirements necessary. Does that make sense? So the better approach is to make fields required at the page level, because pages are much more personal. Does that make sense? So that's why yours did it, Gil. And then as soon as Julia comes back, we'll take a look at hers. All right. So that's just the tip of the iceberg of Process Builder. It's just the tip of the iceberg of Process Builder. And there's not a lot of test questions on it. But I'm gonna point out a couple of things real quick with Process Builder, just so you know, right?
Sorry about that. I just had a quick
No
call.
worries. Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, sure. That would be awesome. Okay, cool. So I
Just
have to
click
choose
verify.
screen.
Just click verify for us.
Okay.
But you're a Mac attack too.
Yeah.
I like Macs. So where's your org that you did the work in? Where's the
Sorry, it's
tab
over
with your
here.
org?
Let me drag it over here.
Oh, you have two monitors?
Yes, I do today. I just plugged in my TV. Okay. So yeah, it said. Oh, so yeah, this is telling me this error message, but when I was over here, like editing the mailing address. Let's see. Like if I just change the numbers or something. Oh, that was weird. I feel like it always works.
Now let's
when
go.
you-
Now wait. Now hold on.
when you
Scroll
ask.
up. Let's look. Let's check out the contacts.
Within the grand.
Yeah. So click on related. Next to detail. There you go. And then click on John or Tim, either one. And details. See now, Tim is not updating. Let's go look at John's record. Something wrong with Tim. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so same.
All right, so nothing. Let's go to the setup then. Let's go look at your process. You can type in builder or process, either one. I just want you to see both. Yep. Contact address change. Oh, it's not active. So, no. Contact address change is the one we want.
Okay.
So activate it. There we go. Let's just check it out before we go. Let's click on the account object. You know, the account box, right? No. Down below. There you go. Remember, Salesforce is hierarchical. So if you go above the line of something, you're breaking the seal. So it's the account when its record is created or edited. Yay. And then let's go to the next one. Address change. Let's click on the criteria. See what that is. So the account billing is changed is true. Yay. Click on advanced. Tab down below. Just make sure you don't have recursion going on. Perfect. You do want recursion sometimes, but not all the time. And then not recursion, but you do want to click that advanced sometimes. Then click actions. Oh, hit cancel. I'm sorry. You got to hit cancel first. And then click on the action that you taken to update contact address. And then the billing, mailing street is billing. Okay, perfect. Go back to the tab with John Bond. Go to the account record. Let's edit that address again. You're breaking the seal. Why are you leaving it all the time? You're making extra clicks.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Scroll
down. Oh yeah, edit's fine too there too. Whatever. There's more than one way to do everything. I just happen to always do it the right way. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll just change it again.
Yeah, perfect.
Be super.
Oh, you're moving them way downtown. Now just go up to the related list and let's check out Tim and John. I think John's gonna go first, but Tim's being a dick. Anyway.
Oh yes, there it is.
Boom! It's like magic, right? It's magic. That's what I like about it. Now you can verify that step. And they both did it. If one did it, they both did, except if Tim's a dick, he won't do it.
Cool. Thank you. I don't know.
Now look,
Awesome.
that, by the way, that's what you have to do with Salesforce. You have to go and retrace your steps, right? And you have to go back, and then you got to, and then look, if you did what Gil did like 17 steps ago, you made a change or you made a decision, that that decision may not, the first ripple may not show up until it's way down in the weeds. So that's the nature of Salesforce. That's what you have to manage all the time as an admin. So as you're creating processes and those other things, it's always a challenge to, like, once you build the house, like, what is that place again where you're at in your picture, Julia?
Kyoto.
Is that Japan?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, but that's like, is that the name of the building? Kyoto? Is that the town, or is that like?
That's like the town. I don't remember what the building is called.
All right, well, it's a Japanese building, the funny roof and all that stuff, right? So,
Yep.
Point is, once you create the plan for that building and you start executing the plan, to make changes to that building could cause problems down the road if you don't follow the plan, right? So, and that's, by the way, that is the Salesforce challenge all the time. It's, can you make changes after you've built the initial product so that the changes don't disrupt other design elements and don't cause other problems down the road? But that's just the nature of business and life. And when you get, when you get involved in those changes and the change management and that's really there's like a lot of moving parts at that point, right? So it's dangerous to make changes, but it's also necessary. You just have to know where to find, those settings that could be connected and affected by any other kind of changes, which is why what you're learning in this class is called declarative development skills. So there's a difference between declarative skills and coding skills, or programmatic development. Programmatic is when you write code, and code can do a lot of things. What code can't do is automatically get updated when Salesforce updates their edition. That's what code can't do. So when Salesforce comes out every 4 months with a new edition, if you're running that org, you've got to look through all of your documentation of everything that you've done to see what changes might affect your code, because stuff's just going to stop working, and Salesforce will be like, I told you what was going to happen. You had to go check it, right? So Salesforce does some of that with the releases every 4 months. And by going to every 4 months instead of every 3, it's made it a little bit easier for people to manage that, but it's still one of the challenges. Now, the way we're developing, they can make whatever updates they want, and we're good because they validate all of their releases so that declarative programming is guaranteed to work. So that's why they're pushing people toward Process Builder. And I'm saying that to you, Julia, because you recruit for Salesforce resources. Some people may have a lot of declarative experience, but not a lot of programmatic experience, like moi. And they could do the job because they're going to do it in a way that doesn't need maintenance in the future. So clients that say, I want a developer that can write code, I'm like, oh, so you want to spend way more money in the future than you are going to right now for this project, right? Because when you write code, you have to maintain code. So that's just part of the fun. Okay. Any questions, comments, complaints about that? Sweet. As we say, sweet. All right, so we're going to do the next little project. And although it's not part of the test, I think it's really good to understand how the approval process works. Did we do this one last time? Did I skip and go this, or this is another project in this list? Did I duplicate my efforts? Hang on a second, let me look at these up. Because I think we did, I thought we did an approval process already, but maybe we just talked about it. Oh yeah, you know what? It was part of Lightning Flow. So it's a separate little project, which will be good because I think that'll take us, it will take us through today, maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 with me talking. Yeah, this will probably take us through today. So let's just jump. Y'all want to do this one? Or you want to go to the Service Cloud stuff and talk about that and forget this? Because we don't really need this for the test. And if what we did in Lightning Flow earlier is touched on it if you understand what it is. So let me just show you what it is, and you tell me if you want to take the hour and just knock it out here, or if you want to go to start talking about how this automation stuff lives with Service Cloud, and then how we could also apply. Well, really, anyway, so let's go. Let's in the processes. Let's go to the approval process section. Just click with me on the approval process section. I'll talk about this stuff for a few minutes, and we can go on from there, because I think we already did one, and this is good. So we've got approval processes already built. And so you can build an approval process for each object. For records that meet a condition, and complex business process require information gathering and planning for it. Yeah. So this is more of an advanced feature and functionality. I don't really want to. So my recommendation is we don't go through it, but we talk about other automation that is more applicable, especially when it comes to leads and cases. Now, the truth about leads and case automation is that they're about the same. Cases have one extra feature that leads do not have. Does anybody, well, they really have two. Well, they have a bunch of, anyway, one really extra feature that leads do not have, but leads and case automation kind of work the same. Does anybody know what that one and you could pull from any knowledge bank you have? Anybody? Bueller?
I've never worked with cases, but my guess would be like there's a complaint or something with a case.
Not exactly, but not far away. So it's actually something called escalation. So let me go back through the order of execution again, and I'm going to do it with a horrible annotation because I've got a slide that'll show it down the road. So the order of execution on my screen, I'm going to put it right here, is the first thing is it always starts with validation, right? So the first thing that happens is a record is valid, which means it passed the save test, right? And I'm going to make it all red. Hold on. So validation. Then it's got evaluation. That means, do I evaluate, now that the record's saved, it's either just been created or just been edited, right? Every time a record's saved, it's either created or edited. So now I'm going to evaluate that record to take some actions or not. So do I just want to say every time the record's created? Just when it's created. So for example, one of the examples we use is the VP of services, right? Customer service VP wants to be notified every time a big account logs a case. Like, okay, that's good idea, right? Big account, very important. That's right. And whatever your criteria is for big, like over 500 employees or over 5 million in revenue, that's what we call big. So anytime one of those accounts creates a case, he wants a notification, so it keeps it on his radar. Okay, that's great. So I don't need to evaluate that record every time they update that case. I only need to evaluate it the first time when it's created. That's what evaluation is. Then we have assignment. So we're about to talk about that with leads and cases. So when leads and cases come into your organization, before you can respond, you first have to assign. You have to assign that record to an owner before you can respond. Think of like a telephone. When someone wants to make a phone call to your company, the first thing that has to happen is somebody's phone has to ring before you can respond, correct? when the phone rings at your company, when everybody's still in the office, everybody doesn't jump up and say hello. Only the person's phone who's ringing says hello. Now, if nobody answers that phone, then phones all over the building might start ringing because it's waiting for someone to respond. But whoever owns that call is going to respond. And then the work gets done. So any workflow rules that you have assigned to that record that meet that criteria, once you've assigned a record, responded to a record, then you can do whatever work you need to do, right? Once you answer the phone, then you can go to work. And when you go to work, you follow processes. So whatever processes need to happen. And then at the end of all the processes, if that case, it's really only a case now, doesn't meet the criteria for complete or something else, it's going to escalate. So escalation happens last. Does that make sense? So and here's all you got to remember for the test. There'll be 4 answers in a multiple choice. Of the 4 answers, oh crap, so I'm going to do the whole thing. All right. One of the 4 answers is going to begin with validation and end with escalation. So you got to remember, a record's got to be valid. It's the first thing I do. And the last thing I do on any record is escalate it, right? This is overdue. That's a problem. Whee! Are y'all good on that? So for the test, if you're studying for the test, then the first thing that happens is the record's got to be valid before anything happens in automation. That's just a good rule of thumb. And then, of course, then you evaluate it. Should I evaluate it at all or not? What's the criteria for evaluation? Does it meet the criteria? If it meets the criteria, then true triggers whatever actions there are. What's the first action of any record is to be assigned to an owner. What's true next? Then that owner responds. Then after the owner responds and what's your problem, you can go to work on that problem following any processes until it escalates. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. So we're going to skip the, we're going to put in, well, I got to hang on. Stop the annotation. So there are 2 types of records where you can create an auto response, leads and cases. So what's a lead auto response? So have you ever filled out a form on a website in the last 25 years? Well, in the last 24 years, every time you fill out one of those forms, you get an automatic reply that says, hey, we got your response, and this might be the only communication you get from us, or just this is the very first communication you get from us, correct? So that's an auto response. It happens on leads and cases. Leads are new prospects coming in. Cases are existing customers typically coming in there. Now, before you can respond, you have to assign. So there are lead assignment rules and case assignment rules. Now, why did I type in assign and show you that there's only 2? Well, because really simply, let's see if the feature does it. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. So marketing, you've got lead assignment rules, and then in service, you've got, where's my service? Oy vey. Case assignment rules. So let's talk about those first, right? What happens with that? Let's talk about lead assignment first. So if I create a web to lead and have a lead assignment rule, it's the same. It's a workflow thing. You've got a couple things you need to remember about assignment rules. You can have as many as you want, but only one can be active. How many can be active?
1.
Exactly. 1. How do you know? Because if you try to add a new one, and make it active, that one will be active. You can only have one at a time. Like I didn't unactivate the other one. Like, yeah, you did. As soon as you do that, it's like process builder, right? If you try to make a change, you got to deactivate the rule or you got to clone it so you can make changes to the deactive rule. And you really can't even change it. You got to clone it and then edit it and then reactivate it. It's just the way it works. We don't want to mess with something that could be handling a record while you're changing it, and that would change the rules. That's the only time Salesforce doesn't change the rules. When the only time it doesn't do it. Let's see, what's my LinkedIn account? What is that? Oh yeah, so the LinkedIn account is about, if you run ads with LinkedIn, they'll link it, they'll connect it with your LinkedIn ad account. Just a fun fact. Let's see what happens here. Because there is an app, it's not for essentials anymore. It was when it first got started. And I'm pissed off that it's now gone away just from essentials. So now I can then also manage my LinkedIn fields, which then just really map to my ad account, which is going to say, I don't see an ad account because I'm not running ads on LinkedIn. But here's, oh, yeah. So my LinkedIn fields will map over to whatever I want. And then LinkedIn questions. So if you have LinkedIn forms, you can have questions, you can have hidden fields. Oh, this is pretty cool. Not in essentials. Damn. Consent fields, whatever that is. All right, pretty awesome. I was just, sorry, squirrel. Okay. So let's go to lead assignment rules first. Let's click on lead assignment rules. All right, so I got my new rule. Let's click on the rule. And it works just like you thought it worked. So you got to have rule entries, right? So these are the criterias. Anytime you get a new lead, it's going to use the assignment rule. The first thing, just like Process Builder has the nodes, this is the old school node. So the first step is, if the lead is, let's say, the lead city contains, I don't know, new. Then step 3 is, well, who do I assign it to? You can either assign it to a user or a queue, right? So if I have a queue, I don't know if I have a sales queue or not. We'll see. I don't have one. So that's another thing you got to decide before you do automation. Remember I said in order to do automation, you got to make sure that you got all your email templates built. Well, that's the other thing you got to make sure is if it's a lead or a case, you have all your queues built. I'm gonna do it to a user because this only has 2 users anyway. And if the lead city contains new, this is a silly criteria, I know. Then I pick the user that will get the lead. So you can auto assign. I'm going to assign it to Ada. And then I got to give her an email template that says, hey, you just got a lead. See if I have any in my other. I'm going to search for a lead record. I don't have one. So I'm just going to pick any of them because it doesn't really matter to me. And then I'm going to hit save. I could also, what do I have as an error? Oh. And so you can assign the ownership of a record. Now I could go through this in multiple different ways, every step of the way. The first rule to trigger true is going to create the action of assignment. True triggers action. So the first rule to meet the criteria. Now, the last rule should be a catch-all. The last rule would say, at the end of all of this, it gets assigned to the system admin. Now, why the system admin? Because if you assign it to the VP of sales, before you validate that that's exactly what's supposed to happen, you can have a bunch of records get assigned to the VP of sales as the last stop on this particular path. So when I go live with something like this, assignment rules, I would always put myself as the last person to get a lead assigned to me. And then for a little while, I'll make sure that no leads are getting assigned to me, or not the right leads would get assigned to me. And then I can change who gets that at the last step, knowing what the flow, volume, cadence is, or whoever it's supposed to go to. Does that make sense, everybody? That's lead assignment rules. Case assignment rules work exactly the same way. But before we go there, let's go to auto response, because once the lead is assigned, we use the same tool to respond. So let's click a new auto response rule. And again, this is web leads. Again, many rules as you want, but only one can be active, right? How do I know? If I click active, only one can be active. And you don't have to do that. You can just watch me. Salesforce is about certainty. That's how you create trust, right? You maintain consistency all the time. Salesforce is all about, if I go to that one, I'm gonna go to my web leads one. I'm gonna make that active. Doesn't matter. It just becomes the active rule. And again, remember, the test is testing you on, you do this every day, every day, all week. So now that I've got my response rules, the same thing happens. I put in my entries to say, okay, step number one, if the country includes US, then from this person, could just be sales. And then the email address must be either one of your organizational emails or one of your users' emails. And then the template would be whatever template you have as an auto response template. I think that email address will work. Maybe not. And it evaluates down the page, I believe. Okay, so there you go. So if a lead has the country US, I'm going to send an email this way. If it has it, and there's no, it's you just go in order. So if you want to, if all your leads had US and you were, then you'd want to put that at the end. Like, I got no other data, right? So you can use any field on the lead record. Remember those fields I was just showing you with LinkedIn? So if one of the leads comes in and it's got something that's pumped in by LinkedIn, fine. Map that field, rock and roll, you're good to go. Does that make sense? Okay. So again, you're responding. Same thing happens with the cases. But you got to create those templates first. All right, so that's what I wanted to show you about automation of leads before we go into the Service Cloud for Lightning. Because this will be, while we touch on this, and this is only, and we're not going to finish this today, the the last class in this series of consultant trainings that we're doing right now is going to be Service Cloud, where we go through the Service Cloud trail and really get into all the features that you can do with Service Cloud. Now, when you buy essentials for yourself at home or any one of the other editions, you get a full Salesforce license, then, you know, you get a lot of the Service Cloud features. If you buy just the Service Cloud license, you only get the Service Cloud features. But a full Salesforce license kind of includes leads, campaigns, cases, accounts and contacts. Like everything includes accounts and contacts. But not everything includes Service Cloud necessarily. Salesforce licenses do, but other licenses may not. Like a Force.com license, a marketing license, those kind of things. Anyway, questions, comments, concerns? Okay, so a couple other things before we move on, because when it comes to automation, you have to remove templates. Let's talk a little bit about templates. I did not know there was a post template. That's awesome. So there's classic email templates are where you go to create templates used in workflow rules, approval processes, auto assignment rules, and auto response rules. Those are all done in the classic email template folder. And that's where this folder lives right here. To create a new template, I think we did a couple of these already. You decide whether you're going to do a plain text email only. And again, you can merge that with all the data you want, or HTML 3 ways: with a letterhead, without a letterhead, or with Visualforce, which is a whole different programming language, way beyond my level of knowledge. If you know HTML, good for you. Good for you knowing HTML. I typically only use HTML in the classic letterhead format. Every HTML, even if you choose an HTML, also has a default text send, so that if the email service that someone's using strips away all of the HTML for security reasons, because people put junk in that HTML, that viruses and a bunch of other stuff, they strip all that out and just pull in the text. Every email template has, yeah, I got you, bud. Where you at? Oh, I don't have a letterhead yet. I never created one. Do you have a letterhead? Let me go to my letterhead and then just create one. Thought we did this already, but maybe we didn't. So let's create a new letterhead. First thing and foremost, you got to make sure it's available for use. So general, public facing, general, you always should have a blank, basically it's a blank letterhead. You can edit the background color. So if your company's got a specific color, like we got, I don't remember our hex code. So I'm just gonna pick a color. Right, you could do that. You could edit the header properties, and then what's the background color of the header. You could select a logo. You've already got one. There. We have to add one in documents. So I'm going to skip that. You could also, yeah, you could go ugly early and often. This looks like a web 1.0. Remember when people made the ugliest websites in the world? Remember when websites looked like this? Everybody thought, look how cool it is that I did this junk. Yeah, very cool, dude. Very cool. Your third grade teacher would be so proud. This is the ugliest letterhead, totally. Again, this is one place to build it, right? Feel like I'm in small village somewhere in a very ugly town. All right, so then I save that. Now I use my letterhead. So now I can create a template using the letterhead because I created it. So you got to give it a name. Let's call this my lead. I'll choose a classic letterhead. I'll choose a free-form letter versus something else. You don't need to put in the description. I mean, obviously you would put in a description to let you know what it's for your future self. The subject line doesn't really matter there. For some reason, I don't know why it's there. But what you want to do then is you want to put in a subject line with knowing that your users may ignore the update. And then here's where your mail merging lives, right? So all of my objects that I have access to, I could create records for. So if I was doing this on the lead, I might say, oops, on my lead fields, you can select any of your fields. Right, and put that in here. You're in the, right, the lead country. Lead field, first name, maybe first name, hello, first name. Make it sound like somebody typed it because you don't want to pay somebody to type it. You want the computer to type it. Where you at? And then any of the fields you want, you can just copy and paste them and insert them in there, right? Who dat? We got whatever it is, right? Hey, I understand. Whatever you can put in your, from here, you can put in user fields, right? So what user did you assign it to? Because remember you assign before you respond. So the user fields might be the, well, you send that ugly message right on down the line. Now, this is the text version of that. If you copy the text from the HTML version, it's just going to put it in as text. That's what the message will do. You're in the blank. Okay, and now you got your email template that you created. It's ugly. Look, I know that's ugly as sin, but you could also test it, validate your merge fields, pick a record. Doesn't really matter. Tim Barr, here we go. And you can see what it looks like. Hello, Tim. Where you at, little daddy? I'm down in the parish. Who dat? We got blank on record, whatever it is, right? So it fills it in. Let you see how it works. Questions, comments. Now, lightning templates, you can turn on lightning templates. Lightning templates are just built by users on the front end. So if you go in and type in on the 9 dots to navigate, you can go straight to email templates. Now these work a little different. So for lightning templates, you might use these in Process Builder or Flow. But when you create a new email template, it works a lot like reports. So the first thing you look for, did you create a folder? So you might create a folder for the report. So folders are an access tool. So I'm going to do general marketing. And then you might even create a folder for customer service, right? So where's my folders? Did I get 2 of them? General marketing. Where that customer, oh look, I put that customer service in there. So now I got to move that folder. So I'm going to delete that folder. Back to all folders. Just create me a new one. Again, just a methodology. So now I got 2 folders, and then you can share access to those folders with users, roles, their subordinates, or public groups. So there's always a public group called all internal users. You could share visibility, editability, or manageability. What does that mean? That means if you create a folder they can share, they can access it. If you create a folder they can edit, they can make changes to the records in there. And if you make changes to where they're managers, right, versus editors, whoops, I'm a manager. Managers control who can access the folder. All right, so now when I got that, I can create new email templates, and it's really to give it a name, and then you have this whole, it's just all HTML here. You can have enhanced letterheads, but that's created under enhanced letterheads. I think that's somewhere else if you want to check that out. There's enhanced letterhead. So you can do all of this in Lightning, but for some of the older features and functionalities, you do it in the classic email template. Okay. Now let's go to auto assign. Just type in auto. So I've got a couple of things. I got auto response rules. Let's go. Let's go to case assignment rules. So case assign. Then we got the case assignment rules, just like lead assignment rules. You've got one. You can have as many as you want, but only one can be active. So notice this one's a little more robust. It's built out. It says the account billing country equals US, USA, United States of America, and the account SLA equals gold, platinum, and account type contains customer. So these are criteria to determine, just like the nodes in Process Builder, if number 1 hits, send it out, take the action of assigning it, right? And assign it to Dominic Karuba. Number 2 hits, where there's silver, bronze, not gold and platinum, then assign it to Amy. Number 3, it's not US, not gold or platinum, assign it to somebody else. Not US, not silver or they're silver or bronze, send it to the European team. Or the account contains partner, both, because your earlier rules should catch everything but the last one. The last one should be your catch-all. That is this. Do y'all have this in front of you right now, these 5 entries? The part where I wait for an answer. So under case assignment rules, does your playground show these 5 entries? Let me make this bigger. Yeah. Y'all talking? All right. So case assignment, then the next one is auto response. First, create any fields you need to create the separation from one assignment location to another. Then create any automation templates you need to feed that information back to either the person who's getting assigned that lead, or because look, when I assign a lead, I can also notify the user, right? So depending on what node, right, what message, it changes the message that I send. So each and every one of these steps could have its own notification. So if they're, and Brian, I'm thinking about you, if they're a speakers bureau, you're going to respond one way than if they're a customer, right? If they're an audience member, you're going to respond a different way than if they're a buyer, right? So all of those things are important. So you create the fields you need, then you add you will go through all your work where you would assign rules, and then you add all the response templates in there, and then you can create the assignment rules that guide people to rec 1. Of course, you need all your notification templates built in so that the users get an email notification. If you're using workflow or auto response rules, you can't do a chatter post. And then they get the email notifications, which could be specific to each node, right? So if I go to node number 3, you can see once that's been notified, I could pick a template to notify the user. And because it's a case, you can also predefine the case team of people that you would add to that record. Now we talked about teams already, account and opportunity teams, correct? Oh, I hate that, Amy. It's some kind of technical issue that you probably have no control over. At least not at the level of my help. Okay, so we'll go from there. And then that's how it works. Now, the other thing that happens with cases, type in escalation. So remember, on the assignment rules for case assignment rules, it said SLA equals gold or platinum, right? Well, case escalation rules are those timers built in. So if you look at your case rules, it's saying if they equal US and they're platinum and the case equals high, do this. Let's see what it says do. That's the criteria, not the action. So the action is in 2 hours, assign it to somebody else and notify them with the escalation notice. So basically what you're doing is for each of these rules, I would reorder these, if you could take them in another order, is as you go down, so let's see, this is platinum, platinum high, medium, low. This is gold high, this is gold medium. Let's see what happens there. So it's saying after 8 hours, escalate the case. Why? because somebody bought premium service versus standard service. So your promises, your service level agreements, and that's a field. Account SLA is a field. So if we went to that case field, somewhere, I think it's going to be on the account record. SLA violation. Where's my SLA? Let me go to the account. I think the account's going to have the SLA. Like when they buy. Yeah, so they're a silver. So it's just a field on the account record. Anybody from that account does a case, we make a promise to fulfill that case in a certain period of time. So they bronze, platinum, silver, or gold. Really? Platinum comes before what? Bronze, silver, gold, platinum. It's a horrible order. Unless you're just selling all golds. Comments, questions, or concerns? All right, with that in mind, we'll do a little prep work on this service journey because remember, cases and leads kind of work the same. They're just different kinds of records, so you treat them differently and they act differently. So when we start the service journey, we'll do this one and then we'll come back to this a little bit. We're going to talk about, you know, what is Service Cloud? Why could you care about service? You know, what is the cloud differences? What are the things that the cloud has different than others, like knowledge, channels, services for everyone, blah, blah, blah. Watch that video. There's also a different way to view records in the Service Cloud in the console view. I don't know if we've actually looked at the console view yet. The console view is a way to juggle multiple records at the same time, keeping them in a much easier contained page layout. So what happens is you open a case. See, I got 3 cases open up top. Let's see if I can make this bigger. I got 3 cases open up top, but under this case, I've got the case details. I open up their account record and open up the contact record so I can manage all 3 of those subtabs in one tab without leaving existing data records, and it makes them a click away instead of a click and refresh away. A click and refresh is where you click a link, wait for the page to load, and refresh. These make them clicks away. So that's good. You can also work each case down the line, and that changes it. You could also collapse it with that little arrow right there. You can't hardly see it, but it's right there. And this is such a picture of it. It also has a different page layout. So the case details are up in the top, the highlights panels at the very top. The feed, the activity feed is happening in the middle. So everything shows up, whether it's an activity on my part, a post on their part, something back and forth. So any of these activities will also just fall in chronological order so you can see it all happen. And then you'll have any related records or knowledge articles that are available to you in the case. And that's really useful because everything's in one page for the most part. I know people who sell using the console view because they like it. Works for me. And we'll talk about administering Service Cloud. So this will take a little bit. Set up your email to make sure your email is coming in to support@yourcompany.com or whatever your organizational addresses are. There's also some guided setup for your social channels. So if you run Facebook Messenger, I run mine through YouTube right now because I plan on, in this next couple of weeks, I know I keep planning it because I gotta get my work done, changing from like I'm gonna be posting a lot of my content on YouTube for customers as well as anything else. So if a customer interacts with me on YouTube, from the comments, it'll create a case for me and I can manage the case from there. And I don't know which video they were watching and all that kind of stuff. So there's a service setup link. Where's mine? So when I look at setup, they added the service setup link, which is great. Takes you to that abbreviated setup just for service. It's fantastic. And then and that's how you get it started. Like you just go through the process. They really made it easy to set it up. You can go into the app manager to really launch other tools that are built in. And what else do you want to have happen all over the page? So you can add a utility bar at the bottom, which you can add, you know, like notes, call a dialer, macros, any other link to any other thing that makes your life easier. You can brand it differently so it makes your users have a better access to it. And then automating case manager is kind of what we already talked about. So I'm going to put you guys on this project, Service Cloud for Lightning Experience. Actually, I'm going to pair you up. I'd like the guys and gals. So Amy, you pair up with Julia, and Brian, you pair up with Gil. And why don't y'all, because I know Brian, you got to leave in a minute to do your other class, and Julia, one of y'all said you got to leave early too. So if you would, chat your info to each other. So I know Gil is, Brian, that's Gil's. There you go, Jazz. There you go, perfect. You guys are awesome. And then, so I'm going to leave you with this project, right? So Service Cloud for Lightning Experience, go do it. Now, those of you that have an org that you administer, like Brian and Amy, you guys both can work on your org. You can jump into this service and start checking it out when you start going to this Lightning setup, because there's a ton of stuff we're not going to cover in detail that'll get you to the class, that'll get you to the certification, because in the Service Cloud, we go deep into channels, deep into knowledge, deep into data categories, omni-channel, which allows you to bring in, you know, messages from every freaking place. Really, it allows for skills-based routing. So little tip for customer service. If you only speak English and you call up service and you say, yeah, press 1 for English because you had to, because they suck, then, you know, the wait's going to be 20 minutes. Hang up, call back, press 2 for Spanish. Why? Because everybody that works for an American company that speaks Spanish, guess what language they also speak? They habla inglés. That's right. Might get a shorter wait time. Might get a higher wait time if it's some other company doing something else. If it was a calling card company, it's crazy. So again, omni-channel allows you to do skills-based routing where somebody, you know, comes to an email, but they need to go right to tier 2 or something like that. Not to mention, you can also set up the entitlements. We're not going to get into that. You can also get into field service lightning, which we're not going to get into that. That's a whole nother app if you really want to go crazy with it. What else? Identity. Yeah, that's other stuff. And then there's all the other social channels that you can pull in. I'm not sure where they live. Might be under channels. Yeah, so chat, communities, email, phone, web, all of those are ways that cases could come to you, and organizing all that. So dig in with this trail. It's a start, but we're going to literally take 4 months in the last quarter of the year where we go through and we get you ready to be Service Cloud consultants. If you want to dig in, if you want to dig down that road, you're more than welcome to come down that road with me. So questions, and then from there, create that digital engagement. This is where you add your digital engagement tools. So whether it's chat or email or Facebook or YouTube, you just select your providers, you plug it all in. We'll do a web form, which is a lot like web to lead. There are more advanced forms in the world and different ways to get data. So you don't have to use this basic, you just turn on web to case or web to lead. And then really, there's other free forms and paid forms and straight up HTML code that'll grab records and put them right into your Salesforce and pull back and forth to Salesforce. So you can do all of that and check it out by next week. Any comments, questions, personal, anything you want to do? Because I don't want to dive too down deep into it. I want you to work on this project between now and Monday, and then wherever you get stuck, we'll go through it together and try to do that try to complete that on Monday. Because this is an hour and a half of material according to these time estimates, but this will take us all 2 hours, even if I go through some of it quickly. So what are your questions, comments, concerns? All right, so remember to get, let's see, Dom, what is Amy's? Oh, Amy is Amy. Oh yeah, there you go. There you go, perfect. Can you hear us, Amy? All right. So that's fine. So Amy and Julia, y'all work on this project together. Julia, I know, and then Brian and Gil, y'all work on this project together. And, oh no, you don't live in Woodstock. You live in Woodstock, right, Brian? Or Woodstock or Canton? Doesn't matter. It's out Tennessee, so it doesn't matter. It's Tennessee. All right, so I'm gonna let you guys out a little early today, unless you got any questions, comments, or concerns.
Can you put the link, or what was it called?
Of the assignment?
Yeah.
Sure. It's the next one in the phase 4. So it's not quite the end of phase 4, but phase 4 is the link I started with today of what we're going through is, and I'm still updating phase 5. Did I lose my, no. And then we'll start some of the reviews. You also have some of the, if you want to immerse yourself in this quarantine state, you have those YouTube videos at the top. We'll get all that squared away to you as well. How you guys doing? Got a thumbs up from Amy? Jules, Gil, Brian?
Good. Looking forward to the service class. Yeah,
It's fun. It's fun, and it mimics all the automation you ever want. And then, what I would also say is if you're really curious about automation, play with Process Builder. I found it is one of them. They've really invested in Process Builder. If you're working with small clients, I wouldn't go outside of Process Builder. I wouldn't try to do flow. I wouldn't do workflow rules. I wouldn't do approval processes. I would just do Process Builder. That's where their investment is. That's where the money's at, so to speak. So, all right. With that, no other questions? Brian, you're good? Gil, you good?
Good. Good.
All right. Perfect. Beautiful. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. Get lots of rest. Stay away from filthy humans. Keep your eyes off your hands and your nose and your mouth. And I got a great video. This guy is really, 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 really smart. Let me show you the video I just saw from this guy. Just so you want to see, he kind of did a he kind of did a video like Mythbusters, how to see germs and how they spread. It's fantastic.
Oh, look at the backs. Let me see your fingernails. Oh, look at all those germs. Oh.
Grammarly does more than catch errors.
Couple of ads you got to go through.
You can find really good. No.
Oh, your thumb. Oh, look at your wrist.
So anyway, she goes through and does some stuff in a schoolroom.
When any of this came on.
He's a good dude. I've done a lot of video. I've watched a lot of videos with this guy, Mark Robert Robert or whatever. He's pretty cool. And this was good. It popped up in my feed, and you know, wash your hands again. Just you know, somebody come up with a face mask that isn't weird, and it keeps our hands away from our eyes, nose, and mouth. That would be the key. All right, so we do this project, the Service Cloud for Lightning Experience. Then we'll come back after Monday, but Thursday we'll do knowledge. And then at any point in time you want to build a battle station app, it's a lot of fun. It kind of brings a lot of it together. All right, so this is a lot of stuff. It's going to take us 1 or 2 sessions to get there. I know it's only worth 600 points, but man, it's a really good app to really help you understand what you're trying to build in Salesforce. All right, guys, thank you so much. Oh, Brian had to bounce. Can you email him that link, Amy? YouTube link? Yeah, it's great. All right, beautiful. All right, guys, be safe, be well, be here next Monday.
Thanks, Don. Take care.
Thanks, Julia.
Thank you.
Yep.